Assalamu alaikum, welcome to Times Up Ummah. Today's first news update is coming from Hamas, where the Hamas leader has said it will not even touch a single cent of the United Nations in the international aid for Gaza aimed to rebuild Gaza after Israeli bombardment flattened the schools, hospitals and buildings. Dear viewers, the head of the Hamas political wing in Gaza, Yahya Sinwar, promised the transparent and impartial distribution of aid as a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas held for a sixth day. He added, "We welcome any international or Arab efforts to rebuild the Gaza Strip. I affirm our commitment not to take a single cent intended for reconstruction and humanitarian efforts." He said, "We have never taken a cent in the past." The Hamas statement came a day after the United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken pledged the United States aid of $75 million to rebuild the Gaza, but stressed that the aid must not be benefit Hamas, which rules the coastal territory. Dear viewers, the United States idea is instead to work with the Palestinian Authority based in Ramallah in the occupied West Bank and headed by President Mahmoud Abbas, reducing the risk of strengthening Hamas, which is considered a terrorist organization by the United States and the European Union as well. But it is not that important if the Gaza residents support Hamas and want Hamas to rule the territory. Sinwar said Blinken's remarks were aimed at widening the divide between Hamas and the Palestinian Authority, but insisted they would have no effect on relations between the rival Palestinian factions. He said, "We will never fall for the trick and lash out at each other." British Foreign Secretary tweeted that the UK pledged £3.2 million in emergency aid to the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian refugees to support those in Gaza affected by Israeli aggression. According to health authorities, at least 254 people, including 66 children, were killed in Gaza as Israel bombarded the Palestinian territory from air, land and sea for 11 days. At least 12 people, including 2 children, were killed in Israel by rocket attacks carried out by Hamas and other armed groups based in Gaza, Israeli authorities said. And also on Tuesday, the European Union Commission has said the European Union was boosting its humanitarian aid to Palestine by €8 million. And Blinken is also at Middle East, and his visit was aimed to support ceasefire that held between Hamas and Israel. Dear viewers, the latest flare of violence erupted on May 10 when Hamas sent volleys of rockets fired towards Israel after Israeli security forces stormed Al-Aqsa Mosque compound, a holy site in Jerusalem revered by Muslims and Jews, injuring hundreds of Palestinians. Dear viewers, the violence in the region erupted when Israeli forces beat the Palestinian protesters who were protesting against the Israeli forceful expulsion of Palestinians from their homes in Sheikh Jarrah. Sinwar warned Israel against raiding Al-Aqsa despite ceasefire that held between Hamas and Israel. He said, "Our people in Jerusalem must be ready to defend Al-Aqsa," adding that the demise of Israel is tied to its violent measures in the city by way of incursion at the compound and attacking Palestinian Jerusalemites. Dear viewers, Hamas has proven itself a powerful organization that can challenge Israel anytime, anywhere. Today's second news update is coming from United States, where the United States and China war has still continued, and especially on the political manner. And the United States has once again raised the COVID-19 issue. Chinese embassy in the United States has said politicizing the origin of COVID-19 would hamper further investigation and undermine global efforts to curb the pandemic. The United States President Joe Biden ordered a review of US intelligence about how and where the virus first emerged. The embassy has said some political forces have been fixated on political manipulation and the blame game. Dear viewers, the World Health Organization is preparing to begin a second phase of studies in the origin of COVID-19, and China has been under pressure to give investigators more access amid allegations that COVID-19 leaked from a research laboratory in the city of Wuhan, where the first COVID-19 case emerged in late 2019. But China has always denied the allegations and have said the United States is using the issue to politically blackmail China because the United States can't bear the Chinese growth. Dear viewers, in March, the WHO team visited China to investigate the origin of the virus, but it failed, and also a joint China WHO study published in March said that it was highly improbable that COVID-19 leaked from the lab, adding that it most likely spread from the birds to human via an as yet unidentified intermediary species. Dear viewers, China has always said the possibility that COVID-19 originated elsewhere and entered the country via an infection carried on frozen food or through wildlife trade networks in South southern China. Dear viewers, the President Joe Biden has said that the US intelligence agencies were divided about whether COVID-19 emerged from human context with an infected animal or from a laboratory accident. Earlier this week, it was revealed that the United States agencies were examining reports that 3 researchers at the Wuhan lab became so ill in November 2019 that they sought hospital care. An expert has said, "We are starting to see a lot of converging streams of evidence that there has not been transparency from the Chinese government. We are hearing about people who work at the Wuhan Institute of Virology becoming sick with an illness. We know that it has been spreading since November 2019, and we have seen the Chinese government be very reticent to allow the press to investigate the origin of the virus. So I think that raises questions about getting the Chinese government to come to terms with what may have happened in the early days of the pandemic." A senior fellow for the global health with the Council on the Foreign Relations in Washington, D.C. said China's lack of openness was a key factor behind the surgence of the lab leak theory. "There is nothing really new there to prove the hypothesis." He said the investigation of the origin of the pandemic, it was really important to have transparency in order to build trust in the investigation results. Dear viewers, the United States continuously tries to encounter China even politically and economically, and the United States considers China as its biggest rival. But that's the China's hard work and the outcome of their struggle. On the other hand, the United States has always tried to spread terrorism, and China has continuously struggled, and now China has become a great power, and in the future there will be 2 big rivals, China and the United States. Today's third news update is coming from Afghanistan, where the Afghan Taliban has finally agreed to attend Afghan peace process in Turkey, but have said we will attend it upon 3 conditions. The conference must be short, the agenda should not include decision-making on critical issues, the Taliban delegation should be low-level. A Taliban leader said, "Our leadership has proposed that Istanbul meeting should not be longer than 3 days. Dear viewers, the conference was proposed by the United States after the United States finally decided to leave Afghanistan and will be hosted jointly by the United Nations, Qatar and Turkey. Dear viewers, the conference was aimed to bring Afghan government and Taliban to ceasefire and bring peace to the region. Before Turkey, Taliban attended a conference in Moscow, and they refused to attend the Turkish conference after the United States was not met the 1st May deadline, in which the United States forces had to pull out before 1st May. The head of the Qatar-based Taliban negotiation team, Sheikh Abdul Hakim, and several key members of the Taliban's Qatar office traveled to region to consult with the group's chief, Sheikh Hibatullah Akhundzada, and some members of the Taliban Leadership Council. Hakim was accompanied by Mullah Fazil, Mullah Shirin, and Mullah Abdul Manan, all negotiations team members, and they are all members of the Rahbari Shura Leadership Council. A Taliban leader has said these consultations went for a month and conducted last week. Afghan media and government always blame Pakistan that the Taliban leadership is living in Pakistan, but Taliban has always denied any links with Taliban and said it is using the influence on Afghan Taliban to help the peace efforts in Afghanistan. The Taliban Istanbul decision is also a result of Pakistani and Qatar efforts, among other countries. A Taliban leader said the Taliban leaders were basically not in favor of participation in the Istanbul conference, but they said they will attend with conditions and on request of Pakistan and Qatar. The United States, Turkey, and Afghanistan had proposed that at least 1 or more senior leaders other than the representatives of the Taliban negotiation teams in Doha lead the Taliban team in Istanbul. Officials from these countries have said in background briefing that don't believe the Qatar office envoys, including Mullah Baradar, have the authority to make decisions in the talks. But the Afghan government is now confused and have some reasons. For now, they are at their weak position, and Taliban simultaneously attacking them and have took control of many areas and checkpoints. And Pakistan has always tried its best to bring both sides for peace, and a Pakistani delegation met the Taliban political representatives in Qatar in the last week of April and pressed them to attend the Istanbul conference with their own proposal. A Taliban leader said the Pakistani delegation insisted that the Taliban should participate in the Istanbul conference with their own future plans as leaders of the Kabul administration. President Ashraf Ghani and chairman of HCNR Dr. Abdullah have prepared future plans and scheduled to unveil them in the Istanbul meeting. Dear viewers, we hope Afghan will see the long-awaited peace in the region. Dear viewers, if you want to watch top 3 news of the day, please subscribe Times of Ummah.